Hello everyone. Okay, so I'm not going to try and make this video too long, but you know me, I ramble because the last time I made the video and it was way too long. So I want to finally get on topic about this book, One Man Crazy, The Life and Death of Colin Clive. So I finished it a few months ago and just never got around to going over it. I thought I would have time when I took a semester off, but I guess I just didn't. Also, I was just really tired from burnout, so yeah. So I read the book, and it also made me want to rewatch some of his movies. Like I've seen Frankenstein a couple of times. The movie Frankenstein a couple of times before I read this book. I've seen Journey's End one time, and so I rewatched Journey's End specifically when I was on the chapter about Journey's End. It's a World War I movie, so and I went over it and I took notes this time, so got these. I'll go over this while I go over some of the notes from Journey's End. Obviously it's a biography by Gregory William Mank, about Colin Clive. He was born in 1900 and died in 1936 of bronchitis. Bronchitis. And tuberculosis. It had to be one of those lung things. I think a lot of people died of tuberculosis back then. And he was an alcoholic, so that didn't help either. It's funny because reading this book, it's like you understand that life imitates you. Life has a funny way of imitating art. It's very ironic because a lot of his parts, and a lot of other people can agree that a lot of his the parts, the characters that he played in the movies, like kind of reference him dying or being alcoholic, or like just so it's kind of interesting. Basically the way of the way it breaks down, it goes by what the book breaks down. It goes by basically the years, and it's more like incorporates more of his acting job, instead of like literally like a biography, like this is what I was feeling when this happened. This is what I mean. There are some interviews of one media, but like it says in the book that he was an introvert, and because even in one interview he said, I would like to be, my typical day would probably be like being in my garden with my dogs. He loved dogs. I think he had several dogs over throughout the book. So my kind of guy. So I wanted to go over Journey's End. It's like I said before, it's a World War I movie. It's kind of like All Quiet at the Western Front, but it came out after Journey's End. It was originally a stage play, and oddly enough, Colin Clive was the star of he was Captain Stanhope in the original play, and then James Whale, who directed the stage play in England, was so taken with Colin Clive that he got him for the movie. So if you want to, you can find it on YouTube. It's free. All it is funny because All Quiet at the Western Front, everyone was when that All Quiet at the on the Western Front came out right after the movie, not the book, because Journey's End is also a book too, and everyone was just like, they're basically similar, but All Quiet at the Western Front won, I think it was an Oscar or Academy, I don't know. It was some kind of award. Which ones are the ones where they do films? I think that's an Oscar. It won an Oscar over Journey's End, so like in 1931. So that was over Journey's End. So that made me feel a little bit sad. But other than that, I read that book in 11th grade and I did not like it. It was just so boring. But so Journey's End, I think they remade it in 2017 or something. I'm not sure, but I didn't see that one. So basically, the movie starts out. It's I really like it, Journey's End. I liked it when I first saw it, and the second time when I was trying to take notes, it's just like, this movie is awesome because it's all takes place in one room. So basically that's how we meet all the characters. That's how everyone goes in and out of the barracks. So it's like it happens in one room. So there's Captain Stanhope, who plays Colin Clive. There's is it Raleigh? Yes, there's Raleigh, who is, I don't remember some of the full names. There's Raleigh, who is a new soldier that just comes in to this regiment, and then there's Lieutenant Osborne. Stanhope usually calls him Uncle. I feel like Raleigh represents innocence of war, innocence of the soldiers, obviously, of all the soldiers who come into war, everyone who comes into war or doesn't know anything, of who's never gone to war. Captain Stanhope, oddly enough, this is why I said that. Like, it's so funny how life imitates art. He's an alcoholic who's basically kind of anxious about everything because it makes him look, he's very different. Being an alcoholic and being in war makes you a very different person, and he doesn't like that. And then there's Lieutenant Osborne, who Stanhope calls Uncle. And I feel like he's the uncle. He represents family in the in war, because soldiers, they become family because those are the only people that, when you're in a huge situation like that, with a traumatizing situation, you can only look to so many people, and the people that you have shared this huge experience with are going to be your family. Like, that's why veterans they sometimes they don't even have had to have known the other veteran or serve with them. They just are automatically linked together because it's just like, my experience, you've been through a lot of this. So what I do, so like basically the story is basically Raleigh comes in. Stanhope and Raleigh know each other because Stanhope was dating his sister in before the war, and so Raleigh comes in, and so Stanhope is afraid that Raleigh will write back to his sister telling him, yeah, he's a drunk, he's crazy, he's this, and so it Stanhope is Stanhope is kind of a jerk to Raleigh, like almost throughout the whole movie, and it's just like you feel bad for Raleigh because Raleigh's like that typical British person, like chip chip cheerio, stiff up a lip, something like that. Sorry to all the British people. um, and but so like Raleigh is trying to make the best out of the whole situation. I mean, because yeah, with war, you kind of want you try to make the best out of the situation, but probably Stanhope tried to make the best out of the situation, but Stanhope is a product of like what war can do, and it can break you. So, and it's like, so we kind of understand why Stanhope's a jerk to Raleigh, but you're still a jerk to Raleigh. And Lieutenant Osborne is basically there to say to Raleigh, oh, you know what? He's actually a really nice guy. And one time Raleigh, like towards the end, Raleigh writes a letter to his family, and so and Stanhope tries to intercept it. And so then he has Osborne read the letter, and Raleigh said only the nicest things about him because Raleigh understands what war can do to a person, and he's still like oh, the men love him, the the men respect, he's very respectful, he's doing great at his job. And it's just like throughout the movie, you see how he treats the other men and how he encourages them even when they're scared. He said, like, there was this one soldier, I forget his name. He would do everything he could. He always tried to pretend that he was sick so he could go home. But Stanhope was just not having any of that. And so then one time he sits him down and said, everyone's scared, but we just have to do this. And then I don't know the dynamic between the two characters, like, yeah, so then the character just accepted it. And so, and I remember, like, towards the end, Osborne died, and then at the very end, Raleigh died. And so Stanhope was all alone because his whole regiment was basically dying. So you see the look of distraught on his face once Raleigh died, because he knew, like, basically everything was slipping away from his hands. And that's basically the last face we see until Stanhope walks up the steps outside the barracks, and then the barracks cave in because most likely a bomb hit it. I think it was very great directing. Like, again, they're being in one room for like the whole entire scene, the whole entire show. And I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes long. I'm not sure. I just really liked it, and I took a lot of notes during this too. Recently, I don't know why, but I've just loved taking notes. Even before I started this YouTube channel, I just started taking notes with books because I just like to, when I reread books, I just like to know what was I thinking at that time I first read this book. So if you want to know a little more about Colin Clive, this is the book to get. I don't know how many other stuff there are about him, because the first time I heard about Colin Clive was the first time I saw Frankenstein, which was a few years ago, and I thought Colin Clive was really cute, and I did research on him, and it's just a lot of I couldn't find a lot of information about it. It said the same thing over and over again, but this is the yeah, I would get this book, and it just, I like it because it goes over like his relationships as well. His relationship with Elsa, no, not Elsa Lanchester, because Elsa Lanchester was the bride of Frankenstein. I forget her name. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not gonna look for it, because if I look for it, it will take forever. His estranged wife, his last girlfriend. Yeah. It also references James Whale as well, and obviously Boris Karloff in here, and I really like it. And this was, yeah. If you also want to know a little bit about pre-code Hollywood and like the transition to code production, this can give you a little overview of it a little bit. And like, if you don't know what that is, it's just making sure, it's just pre-code Hollywood is just pre-code production, and making sure that horror movies don't overstep their bounds. Because a lot of horror movies, I'm now reading Boris Karloff biography, and yeah, the production code just makes sure they don't overstep their boundaries, because sometimes horror movies can go, a lot of these horror movies, especially in Frankenstein, can go over bounds with can go over like, it's basically supernatural versus the natural, like what's more and what's not. Like Frankenstein, like I said in a previous video about the introduction to this video, the famous line, "It's alive, it's alive." They cut out half of that. They said, because he said at the end, he said, "Now I know what it feels like to be God." They took that out because it was blasphemous. But it's funny because it's about a guy who uses dead bodies to create another living man. So, yeah. So, it's already blasphemous. So, you're already good. But, I don't know. I guess people saw a lot of stuff differently back then. But, I would get this book. If I would rate this out of 5 stars, I would probably rate this I want to say 5, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. Like actually, I want to say a 4.5, because it's not the writer's fault, but because the writer did a lot of things. He went to Colin's childhood house. He went to I don't obviously I don't think he went in, but he went to he went to his he wrote about his school that he went to when he was a boy. He wrote about his family, and his family going, some of his family members, I think it was his brother, went to an insane asylum. So he wrote about that too. He did a lot. He went above and beyond, and even put himself in dangerous situations to to get pictures, to get information. So it's like, that's a historian. That's a historian right there. I want to be something like that when I'm older. I would have liked to know a little more about his background, and also I think also why I give it a high rating is because I liked the epilogue. Even after Colin Clive was dead, there's still a bunch. He writes in the epilogue. There's still a bunch of people that really there's still a bunch of people that are Colin Clive fans. I mean, I don't even know if today, I don't even know if Colin Clive would probably be amazed by how many people still know him today. I mean, probably most likely not everyone's gonna know him, obviously, because I don't think a lot of people are going to know him by name, especially people in my generation or younger. So, and that's the thing. But like, if you say Frankenstein and you say Mad Doctor Syndrome, people are gonna be like, oh, you mean, when you say Mad Doctor, obviously people are gonna think Frankenstein, because he was basically the catalyst. Frankenstein, Heinrich Frankenstein was the catalyst for the Mad Doctor. So even Boris Karloff played a lot of Mad Doctors. So Bela Lugosi, I think he even played a Mad Doctor one time. I think he played a Mad Doctor one time. And I think it was with Boris Karloff in it too. So it's also not just the Mad Doctor syndrome. It's not them just being the Mad Doctor. It's the Mad Doctor syndrome, where like you're so obsessed with something that you become crazy. Like, you want this thing to work so bad that everything else that's in the way, everything else that was in your life is now just something that's in your way. Like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And it doesn't always have to be bad, but I mean, like, obviously in Frankenstein, being the Mad Doctor, he was crazy because he made someone into, he used dead body parts to make a man. But what I'm saying is that if there was no Mad Doctor, if people didn't have Mad Doctor syndrome, a lot of stuff wouldn't have been invented today. So so some people, like, they just really want to invent something because Frankenstein had I think he had good intentions, but as we all know, it just went astray. So that's all I wanted to say about it. This is still pretty long, but it's not as long as my other video that I deleted because it was way too long. And like I said before in the beginning, and on every video, I love to ramble. Yeah, that's all I have to say. All right. Tell me if you've ever read this book. If you have any other suggestions about horror movies, or like horror books about specifically about Colin Clive, because I can't find anything else on Colin Clive. But maybe I'm just not looking hard enough, because I stopped doing as much research on Colin Clive as before, but now I'm buying a lot more. I'm looking at a few more books that we're talking about old Hollywood, because I feel like I might do my thesis on something I kind of knew already when I first started, but now I'm like, well, I'm already buying a bunch of these books, and I need books on old Holly. I know I'm kind of buying a bunch of these books, and I already know that. Found out that I need at least 10 books for my thesis. So why not? So I'm, like I said, I'm already reading a Boris Karloff book. I just got a book about Lon Chaney Jr. Um, so, and I'm looking at a Bela Lugosi book. So I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to do horror in old Hollywood, or like probably just old Hollywood in general. So that's something I'm trying to figure out right now. And I'm gonna go back to school on January 3rd, so I probably want to do as much reading as possible now before January 3rd. Um, yeah, that's it. That's a little bit of update of my life, and I'll see you in the next video, whenever that will be. Bye.